into our second set. It's Invictus Gaming versus IG. Turning to the wrong page of my notes here. But welcome back to Shanghai. Once again, my name is Tahm. This is Raz. We're about to get into this next game. And we've got to talk about the fact that right now, Invictus Gaming have not dropped a series since their first in the LPL. We're on week 4, 5 series in a row. Could they be going for number 6?
Well, they're definitely going to be looking for it. And I think FPX, the team that they're facing today, it's going to be a tough one just because the last time we saw FPX, they have a very similar styles towards that kind of heavy, aggressive, early game tempo. So that's a good challenge stylistically that they can go up against Invictus Gaming. But to answer your question, it's going to be a tough one for FPX. IG should kind of have it just because of how cleanly they've been playing that and how cleanly their team fights have been.
Of course, we always talk about the mechanical skill of the likes of Invictus Gaming. The individual players are so talented, and the fact that we're seeing them approach sort of a new style. Rookie, no longer the solo carry for the team. He's taking a step back, allowing TheShy to step up in the top lane, allowing JackeyLove to be huge in the bottom lane. And that matchup is going to be so hyped. JackeyLove versus LWX.
Yep, mostly because the fact that Invictus Gaming are comfortable enough this split to be playing around their AD carry. That's nice to see. We're seeing, of course, you're talking about Rookie being able to find himself on supportive picks like the Karma, for instance, putting it all on JackeyLove a lot of the times. And so he's able to output some incredible stats, and then going up against LWX, there's a reason why we're talking about how the matchups look so good, because it's looking great for JackeyLove with how much damage per minute he's able to output, especially in team fights, how much damage to champions that he's able to output in team fights. But going across the aisle, sure, that's not solid stats going up for LWX, but there's a lot of faith in how he plays in team fights because he's a strong mechanical AD carry.
Especially with how he fits in with his team. Really, he's the core of the 4-1 strategy that they've kind of been employing in these last few series. And again, a quick reminder to everyone, this is the last broadcast for the LPL before we go on break for the Chinese New Year. We're going to be back February 23rd, but just for these next few weeks, this is the last set. So make sure to tune in, watch all the VODs, watch all of the other regions to keep yourselves all tided over and topped up for now. But we're just hoping that FPX versus IG is hype enough to get us through this 2-week break. But again, to get back into this matchup, it looks like it's going to be so cool because this could be a potential favorable matchup for FPX. With how IG have been playing, sort of taking their time, waiting for the late game, FPX are decisive. They could try to take something early.
Yes, and though there have been problems that they've had in terms of the early portions of the game, with, of course, Pepper being pretty impulsive in how he ends up ganking, so that kind of hits him in the long run if he finds himself in a bad matchup. But you're right. Stylistically, this looks good, especially within the laning phases, because we didn't even hit up what honestly is the most exciting one for me, which is TheShy versus Gimgoon.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty incredible to see. And we've kind of had a point where we kind of talk about, oh, I don't know about FPX, if they can run Gangplank, because sure, Gimgoon's great on the champion, but if he doesn't get enough support on the top side of the map, then especially up against Ning and TheShy, which have great synergy together, he would find himself getting dived quite a bit. But if there is, I would say, an improvement between how Pepper and Gimgoon are playing, and if you can see Gimgoon's GP, then that would be a great combination for today's game.
Yeah, you're exactly right. This is something that could be a little bit scary for FPX because, like you said, Ning has just been so aggressive these past few days, especially pairing with TheShy in the top lane, even roaming down to the bottom to interact with JackeyLove. And that has been a bit of a weakness for FPX. Gimgoon getting left on an island during the laning phase. And we said ourselves, they do see success if Gimgoon is actually set up.
Yeah, and so it feels like, funny enough, since Pepper was the former member of RNG, that it's more of like an MLXG effect, because we have seen great things from Pepper. His later portions in the game, mid-game, late-game team fights, he has some incredible Lee Sin plays. Like, we love to see him on that Lee Sin pick. But early on, there can be some questionable moments where he's not constantly thinking about the next play. That he ends up getting himself isolated in jungle in a 1v2 scenario. Could be communication. But for him, a lot of the times, is that he's not thinking about where he should be on the map. Now, in the last set that we saw with FPX going up against Vici, that was resolved. But that was Vici, so I really want to see if that's going to be working for him well going up against Ning today.
Well, against a top-tier opponent, at the very least, they are confident coming into this one. In the video at the top of the day, we heard Ning even saying, hey, I am going to be invading Pepper's jungle. I am going to be in there, all up in the place. And Pepper's response to that was, he can't handle me. He can't handle the spice.
Yep. And he said the same thing, I'll invade him. Like, they're both essentially wanting to invade each other. I don't think that's realistic unless if they're just trading sides.
It's so funny, too, because SOFM is going to be watching the games today going, these guys are terrible at invading.
Yeah, maybe. It'll be fun to see how this ends up working because you just talk about how stylistically. So I think the game plan, if you're FPX and if you want to be able to take a few notches off of Invictus Gaming, starts with like essentially banning Jace first, because you do not want TheShy on Jace. That's been essentially a priority for him. And then you look to play through topside. And if we see Camille, which has been banned frequently, please put it on Gimgoon, because the last time we saw Gimgoon have Camille, we saw it to great success. He was able to constantly roam towards the mid lane, and we need to be able to see that out of him. Essentially like last year's Snake, where Snake were not too successful, but when Flandre was on Camille, he was able to constantly impact the mid lane matchup. I want to see Gimgoon essentially not relying help, but more so helping the rest of the map.
I mean, more often than not, it seems like we've been seeing Gimgoon relegated to the likes of Gangplank, sitting on that champion that just kind of farms, scales up into the late game team fights. And if we're talking about FPX taking that early skirmish style, is that something they can afford to leave him on this game? Is that something they perhaps even emphasize?
It depends if the patience is there, quite honestly. The patience and, of course, being able to support that matchup, which is why a lot of the times I'm kind of leaning for them to push away from that, especially going up against Invictus Gaming, especially when Ning has had such a strong presence on the map, getting vision control after vision control. So if you kind of, for 1 minute, give him too much information, then it seems like you end up losing quite a bit on the map for that. So I'm a little bit too worried. That's why I don't want the GP. I want to essentially see a Gimgoon fly today.
All right, well, we'll see if he's going to be able to succeed and pull that off, because, again, he's got to match up against some very talented players from Invictus Gaming. Rookie taking more of a backseat for his team with supportive champions, but the more and more you watch him, you realize it's not so much a supportive role. Even when he plays Galio, he flash taunts onto 3 people. He's still able to land the Winds of War and Justice Punch to set up for his team.
Yeah, and he can still weave in a few Lucian games here and there. He did it, of course, during the split. So you don't know, essentially, what kind of style you're going up against when you go up against Invictus Gaming. It could be that LGD style of we're all good players, we're all going to come up with a proper matchup. Of course, looking at Invictus Gaming first, TheShy in the top lane, Ning in the jungle, Superstar Rookie in the mid lane, and JackeyLove and Baolan rounding out their bottom line.
And that style is something that's so important to talk about. JackeyLove has been the fire of Invictus Gaming. They've been relying on him. It's up to FPX to turn that down. Gimgoon, Pepper, Bing, LWX, and Chris.
And looking at, of course, across the aisle for FPX, Bing seems to be that pressure point for FPX. Bringing him on to the Taliyah pick, getting him constantly roaming. Even the Cassiopeia, honestly, that was an interesting one because I didn't expect Cassio. They played towards him initially, of course, but when he was able to get a proper lane matchup for himself, he started roaming. So for me, Bing is great for this team because he's essentially able to move out of the lane and help out the proper side lanes of LWX and, of course, Gimgoon. They can do that. Excellent.
Yeah, well,
that's a big if going up against Rookie.
You're saying that, right? Because, yeah, it's against Rookie, who is one of the best mid laners, if not the best mid laner in the league. This guy is well touted for his mechanics, his ability to keep his opponent in lane. Even if you put him on Galio, he locks you down.
Yep. So that's why the biggest worry for me is that IG can just go back to their old style, say, we'll put 100% of pressure towards the mid lane, get 100% of the vision control towards the mid lane, and Bing won't be moving.
Well, we're going to find out if that's the case. Our casters are ready to get us into game. But first, let's hear Baolan share his thoughts on LWX and Crisp.
Jacky 的话，我们2个在还没来 IG 之前就认识了，然后一直也在排位一起玩。然后 Jacky 是我看着长大的吧，然后他总算上了，然后我们希望能就是配合的越来越好吧，然后能有好的表现。接下来我们会遇到 FPX， 其实我觉得他们的新赛季阵容是很强的，算是最被低估的感觉吧，就是他们的队伍。而且林伟强和刘劲松也是就是很稳定的，而且也不依赖打野的那种下路组合，也配合得很好。然后他们的其他选手也都很强，我觉得他们是就是很强的一支队伍。然后希望我们跟他们交手的时候能打得比赛。
Actually, very interesting to hear from Baolan there, but my name is Pulse. I'm here with Frosk as well to get us into this cast. And I want to jump back on what Baolan was saying because it leads right into what I was wanting to talk about, was talking about FPX, and they're actually a pretty underrated team right now.
Yeah, and I would agree with that, but it's kind of hard to say right now. If you look at their record, the only teams that they've been able to take down are Vici Gaming and Snake. And while Snake are sitting on the top of the standings right now, and that looks impressive on paper, it was before Snake went on their massive winning streak. When they took a game off of Team W, it was before Condi was was on the roster. When they took EDG, you know, almost 2-3 games, it was before EDG had ramped up. So there's a lot of context surrounding FPX that kind of pumped the brakes a little bit. And yes, we were super hyped, very excited for what we thought were these diamonds in the rough that had been collected on this team. Now it really hasn't come to fruition.
Yeah, and it could be their time to shine as they go up against the teams now across the conference. I look towards Gimgoon, who's just actually super relaxed right now, and this guy is
like
super reclined.
Before summer vacation.
And yeah, also what Baolan was talking about there was he's played with JackeyLove before heading into the LPL, and like now IG have said that they're very much playing around this player, but that doesn't necessarily seem like that is the case when you look at the stats.
Yeah, it's interesting. We brought up the stats on the analyst desk, and it showcased, the ridiculous amount of damage that JackeyLove is putting when he's in the fights. But if you look at his kill participation as well as his kill share, he has the lowest or second lowest of any AD carry in the league, whereas LWX is on the complete other side of the spectrum. He's been given all of the gold, he's participating in most of the fights, and yes, his CSD and his DPM aren't as high as JackeyLove's, but the team seems to be much more effective about how they're using him around the map. So I just find it very interesting that if IG are going to give JackeyLove such high priority as even a possible first pick, that you don't see that reflected in how they're moving around him in the map.
So I'm glad we talked about that, because if we look towards IG, they were thinking about looking for towards the AD carry at the start, but it will in fact be a Jarvan first pick for Ning here. And we heard from both junglers, as the analyst desk was saying, that they're just trying to look for invades on both sides. They're probably going to start swapping jungle here, so we'll see if that's actually the case, as Ning has gone for a very aggressive pick in the form of Jarvan.
That does put a much higher priority on Kha'Zix being picked up for Pepper. We know that he is comfortable in that champion, and one of the few things is the Kha'Zix versus Jarvan matchup is there can be kill pressure on both sides. I like it a little bit better for the Kha'Zix, but of course it's always going to be about how and when Kha'Zix uses his jump to execute on the damage.
FPX will lock in the Braum though for Crisp in the bottom lane, so they are setting up around LWX to start this one off. And FPX are currently hovering their jungler, but that would be very, very interesting if Pepper does go towards the Sejuani, because that flies against everything that I kind of see as Pepper as a player, but he will lock in Sejuani here.
I mean, the thing is Ning's most played champion is also Sejuani, and it's not Pepper's most played champion right now, but it is one of the higher priority champions for him. So even though we had a lot of smack talk back and forth between the junglers, I actually like the fact that FPX have prioritized two really strong engage tools, because they really do thrive in skirmishing and 5v fighting. And with Sejuani and Braum, yeah, you don't get that explosive jungle matchup that we were looking for, but you do get incredible tools to punish, where I feel like IG have been a little bit frail in those team fighting.
IG on the opposite side will prioritize their AD carry, and it will be another Kog'Maw coming in here for JackeyLove, alongside Tahm Kench for Baolan in the bot side.
So I like the immediate response then, that they see that the Kog'Maw composition has been set up. You have your Kench for your safety, your Kog'Maw for your hyper carry. It's JackeyLove's Kog'Maw of all things. This guy is known as a Kog'Maw player. Kog'Maw is one of the most banned champions against Invictus Gaming for that very right. And then you pair it with a Jarvan. So you basically create a little basketball hoop and you just let Kog'Maw dunk into it. But immediately FPX then say, okay, we've got a Braum, so we have a great ability to slow down any sort of pushes, and then we're going to pick up a Caitlyn. So she won't be able to scale as well as him, but she might be able to out fast push him and punish him in the lane phase.
And FPX, we do know they like to play around the early game, so potentially that's a possibility for them here as we look towards these bans. Now will be banned out against TheShy here in the top lane, along with Jace, in fact, towards both Rookie and TheShy.
And see, it's not necessarily for TheShy that the Ornn ban is coming through, it's for JackeyLove again on that Kog'Maw. He's very immobile in the back lane. Ornn's ultimate can punish very hard. They don't have access to the Braum to deny the Ram, so they need to take it away. That said, I do think it is a wasted ban against Gimgoon. Both TheShy and Gimgoon have played almost exclusively bruiser or fighter-based champions. Gimgoon does have one game of Ornn, but it is not a high priority or something that they have showcased that they will often go to grab.
Yeah, we've actually seen a ton of Vladimir actually coming from Gimgoon, which has been banned against him, as well as the Gangplank actually from IG. On the opposite side, as we already spoke about, the Gnar, the Jace, so there is a lot of respect towards the top lane pulls from both of these players, and now a lot is gone actually from both of them.
Ooh, that was interesting. I want to quickly touch on the Corki hover, because I felt like it was FPX resigning that this was going to be a Galio pickup. It fits very well with the Invictus Gaming composition. You get the famous combo of the Jarvan Galio as well as protection for the Kog'Maw, and we've seen Corki be the LPL answer for what to take into the Galio, but maybe they have a better read on it, maybe something happened in scrims, because it looks like suddenly we're going very sideways.
Yeah, Bing moving towards the Taliyah here, looking for the early push and then moving to side lanes, it looks like. We'll see if he does that in-game, as IG will pick up the Orianna for Rookie, so again, he's still moving towards these more supportive picks.
And again, I don't have access into the scrims, but maybe Rookie's then reading that Taliyah into Gallo, you can match the roam, you can match the push, so it's not a viable option for me, or it's not what I was comfortable with. Let's go for more of a mix of this. Let's have our combo still with the Jarvan there. Now you put the ball on the Jarvan, you go in for the massive AoE, but maybe she feels more comfortable in this particular Taliyah versus Ori matchup.
And TheShy having to pick into, or actually first into Gimgoon, I should say, will pick the Cho'Gath into the top lane, even though Vladimir is off the board. So this will just be a solid pick in the top lane for him against whatever Gimgoon is going to bring out. But Gimgoon's put against it now. He's lost pretty much every single bruiser he's played so far, and will lock in the Fiora because of that. Currently, 0% win rate in the LPL Fiora, 0-4. So best of luck to Gimgoon.
But I do like the fact that he's remaining consistent to his style. This is actually the first tank also played for TheShy. Again, he hasn't played any sort of tank champions. It's been Camille's, it's been Vladimir's, things of that nature. So it makes sense with the composition. You said it, they need a solid pick into the top lane, and what you really mean is they need another tank. They've now got Jarvan, Cho'Gath, and Tahm Kench for their front line, as well as so much Baron priority now that they have a feast available to them.
It's very much looking towards the team fights for IG and playing around JackeyLove, which they have said that is their goal, to play around JackeyLove, but it's actually TheShy who's been the beneficiary of a lot of the farm, the gold share.
Yeah, and that has to adjust now because he is on the Cho'Gath. So looking at these team compositions, it's very clear that Invictus Gaming, you can see it on your screen right now, they're the 5v5 composition. It's about that Kog'Maw and how they're going to facilitate him. Whereas FPX have a lot more versatility in their composition. They're looking at a 1-4. They can start a fast push with the Caitlyn into a Kog'Maw lane, but it's really about giving that attention to Fiora early. So hopefully, Caitlyn, Braum, Kog'Maw, Kench, maybe they get isolated, left on an own little island, and Pepper is able to give Gimgoon some attention so that Fiora doesn't remain with a 0% win rate.
And it does seem like priority has shifted here, because historically when we look at FunPlus Phoenix, Pepper likes to invade. He likes to get in there, he says it in interviews all the time, but he's also been failing a lot in the jungle role early in terms of his pathing and how the early game goes for him. Very typically will just die straight up, and then what does that mean? Top lane is just in a terrible situation because Gimgoon can't do anything, then he's pushed in and then you just lose another power point on the map. So it seems right now the focus has shifted here for FunPlus Phoenix to allow top lane to flourish.
And I do think that Pepper is going to be a little bit safer on a pick like Sejuani. He's still going to have a lot of that skirmish ability, especially into the Jarvan, and then he's going to scale really well into the mid and the late game, that he can be that aggressive initiator that we know that he likes to be.
We can also see if the bot side of the map can pick it up as well. And if Bin can actually get in there early, because he's playing this Taliyah right now, we'll be looking for the roams. Sounded like that was specifically a rookie chant out there, but as we get into this, Invictus Gaming against FPX. As we said, we keep on saying that FPX, this could be their time to shine, the time for them to finally pick up some wins. Because when you look at FPX as the team, I feel like they should be doing a lot better than they actually are. They picked up 2 wins so far in the split, but they always seem to win the early game.
Yeah, and one of the issues is that FPX are still struggling to find their identity. They don't know what type of team they are right now. They haven't had the consistency to really execute on closing out a best of 3, whereas Invictus Gaming are changing their identity. They're kind of in the same boat. You know, are we a mid lane focused team? Are we a top lane focused team? Is this all about JackeyLove? And how do we actually pass that torch around in how we set up these components of our roster?
I mean, the composition definitely tells us they are trying to play around JackeyLove right now. Will be picking the Unsealed Spellbook for himself. Guardian in the bottom lane as well for Tahm Kench.
I think this is the least amount of Unsealed Spellbooks that we've seen. Klepto on Fiora up there, so
yeah.
I hate Klepto as a keystone, but hold on, TheShy.
He's going to trade off against Gimgoon here. Should be able to lunge away.
And I mean, I hate Klepto as a keystone simply because of the free gold it gets. Not that I hate it on Fiora. I actually think it makes a lot of sense in this situation. It just means that you can pretty much do nothing in the lane phase and end up with a gold lead.
Yeah, he'll just be poking away, and Gimgoon will naturally pick up gold in the top lane against Cho'Gath, especially into melee picks right here. There's almost nothing stopping Gimgoon from becoming pretty big. We'll actually see if he can push Cho'Gath out, though, because that sustain he gets from his passive makes it very difficult, even against, like, Vladimir matchups.
And yeah, that was one of the big reasons why Cho'Gath started to see more popularities because of the rise of Vladimir and how he was pushing against him. You can see right now the top lane does look neutralized, slightly pushing in Cho'Gath's favor, but that does mean that it exposes him for a gank. Unfortunately, Sejuani did start topside, so with the standard pathing, which is buff into Scuttle Crab, and looks to be giving a lot of her attention to invading Ning, placing down deep wards, and offering protection for LWX and Chris. So this looks like a typical fast push strategy.
Ning actually went towards the top side here. He's looking towards his mid lane right now. Bing is playing towards the bottom side of the map since he obviously knows his jungler's down there, so if he's going to run to anywhere, it would be down. Though Bing has kind of opened himself up there as Ning will walk into lane. Will rock surf to safety though. He's now into the bush, but Ning probably going to spot the fact that Pepper's on his Raptors right now.
Damage has been done though. Tiny skirmish.
Yeah, Pepper's going to push him out. Flash
big
actually being
skirmish.
used, yeah, by Ning because Bing came down. Decided that he just didn't want to get flicked.
And already a huge disadvantage there. The flash, obviously Jarvan does have flag and drag, but it is incredibly important to be able to follow up and make some of these early ganks happen when you don't necessarily have the initial burst damage. And he's going to be continued to be punished.
Jumps over the wall, smites, and he's out of there.
And the reason why Pepper is going to continue to punish him on the Sejuani is bot lane's pushing in. He knew that Rookie had just reset mid lane, so there's no punishment to him, and now Rookie is left exposed.
He's going to have to walk up right here. Bing is following him down. Pepper following up as well. Will cleanse out of that passive, trying to reduce the slow flash over the wall. Burns both summoners.
Yeah, 100% worth it right there to burn the flash, to force that of Rookie. You could tell that he wanted to hold it because he didn't immediately want to concede a lot of this lane presence that he was having as Orianna, and it forces Ning to respond to his lane as the jungler. They need to reset this, get this shoved in, because Orianna cannot afford to be that far forward in the lane with no flash against his Sejuani.
Now this has actually just turned into a straight 2v2 in the mid lane right now, trying to get priority over the minion wave. It is currently Ning who's able to step up though alongside Rookie. But Bing has to farm from range now.
Yeah, but of course it's wasting a lot of their poor junglers' times. Yeah, you could say that maybe they get some experience, but they're denying that from the mid lane. But it means that they're not in their own jungle farming, resetting their camps, and getting this early vision that a lot of the junglers are responsible for when they take their initial get back on the map.
And meanwhile, in the top lane, Gimgoon is constantly being pushed in. The fact that the early jungle pathing, I think, is really what did it, because he knew he couldn't push out, so now he's just having to trade against Cho'Gath as the tower pushes up. But if Fiora doesn't have control to at least hit the Cho'Gath, he's just going to outpush all the time with the Vorpal spikes.
But then that goes back to, the Kleptomancy will do a lot of that work for him, because he put himself in not the best of situations for starting his lane phase. Like you said, taking that leash onto Pepper, getting shoved in by the Cho'Gath, but at least he has the sustain of Klepto. It's 8.1, so it hasn't been adjusted yet, so he's going to be just fine up there.
It's the gangplank effect, where it doesn't really matter what happens in the top lane. Unless you're dove repeatedly, then you're probably going to get out of lane with a Triforce at 12 minutes. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, we should start focusing on the AD carries, because we will look towards late game specifically when we see both these AD carries, because LWX is the man who does a lot of the heavy lifting for FPX as the game gets going.
And the part of the game that I really want to focus on as we are in lane phase is actually going to be as soon as we exit lane phase, because Kog'Maw and Caitlyn have very different breaking points about when they want to start being powerful on the map. Kog'Maw spikes at 2 items, so obviously it's a little bit sooner than Caitlyn, whereas Caitlyn really spikes at 3 items, depending on how the enemy team gets out of control. May even be as late as 4 items if she needs that armor penetration. So the fast push is so important for FPX, so they kind of bypass that power trough, which is why you see how much attention Pepper is spending on the bottom side of the map, getting these cheeky wards behind the dragon, which is especially important because he saw where the control ward went down. So it's still going to offer a lot of safety and making sure that Jarvan doesn't get a creative gank path over the back of the dragon pit.
I want to see if FPX as well try and leverage that fast push that they actually have, because typically the way that they get their advantages in the early game is often over skirmishes and around objectives, not so much the tower, specifically monster objectives. So this is definitely a change in playstyle for them.
In fact, Invictus Gaming are one of the most dominant tower teams. Now, it's hard to really draw much from those statistics. They have the most towers taken per game and the least towers given away. But at that same token, of course, they are, undefeated for a bunch of series, top of their conference, so those stats will naturally go with the teams that are winning more. But it seems to indicate that IG are actually really conservative around their towers and very well at identifying when to play for structures.
It's almost a nice thing that we're at the point where we're nitpicking for IG, because there was a bunch of hype behind him, specifically around JackeyLove. He was meant to be the final piece of the puzzle for Invictus Gaming heading into the split. It's like, now he's of age, this is the split for IG, this is going to be the year, Because last year, I remember Rookie was saying, like, it's a life goal for me to go to Worlds. It just didn't work out, really just because of a single play. So now for Invictus Gaming right here, this is their time.
And they also have time right now. That blue buff is about to spawn, and look at all of the vision that Ning has really prepared. Now, because everyone is on the bottom side of the map, there could be an opportunity top side.
Oh, TheShy locked completely down by Pepper, getting all of these ultimate stacks, and it will be first blood. Going over to Pepper, who gets the last hit right there.
But hold on, here comes a dive in response.
Keeping the minion wave back, and it's all the damage down onto Chris. LGX buying a couple seconds, but he's also going to fall. Rookie finds that kill.
And it does mean a lot of damage onto the tower. Now, Bing does have ultimate to try to lock them in.
Trying to block someone in, and it will be Baolan who has to flash over that wall created by Bing. Will get out safely.
And it's not just about locking them in, it's also about denying the creep wave, so not a lot of tower damage is going through, where meanwhile, you can see that Fiora is getting massive alone time with that tower. Now, as I was saying, all of this was preset by Invictus Gaming. Look at all of their vision. Ning had constantly been trading positions back with Sejuani, laying down this triangle vision. It was just as simple as, you're level 6, I'm level 6, let's go use our ultimates bottom, when the waves had swapped back tempo, and JackeyLove and Baolan had created a massive pushing lane onto Caitlyn and Braum.
Yeah, pulling ahead here. 2 assists for the bottom side. 1 kill went to Ning, 1 kill went to Rookie in the mid lane as well. We'll go back to base pickups lost chapter. Bot lane's well on its way towards the Win2's first item for JackeyLove. So this has really just accelerated Invictus Gaming towards their first items here. That's a massive minion wave as well. The fact that Rookie didn't even really feel the fact he was punished in the mid lane, was able to rotate towards the bottom lane on a cannon wave past that. That's like 3 waves of minions that he gets to pick up now over Bing, who had to move himself.
And it's something that Rookie has remained consistent with, even though we're not seeing him on the star carry-oriented champion still, is that the way that he manipulates minion waves is still the best in the league. And the fact that he wasn't punished and didn't miss anything there showcases that.
Pepper managed to successfully sneak into that lane, but the next push is unfortunately warded by TheShy. So he's very much aware that Pepper probably wants to set up camp in the top lane. So he's just going to walk forwards and try and waste some of Pepper's time here. And
now what do Invictus Gaming do with the information? Their key ultimates are just about to come back up. The Shockwave, the, Cataclysm. They need a combo for that. And so again, you see Ning, he starts to peek over into Sejuani's camp. He's using the time that Sejuani is wasting up here to get that much farther, or catch up that much more in CS, and he's opening that pathway back down to the bottom lane, and you can see LWX and Crisp are actually reacting to this. Braum, cheating over, laying down some vision because he suspects that Jarvan is in the area, and likewise now Bing knows something is up.
Yeah, Rookie and Ning pushing into this jungle here. They have complete control of the bottom side. The fact that the bottom lane has to sit in that bush in between first and second tower, really depressing for them. Invictus Gaming will be able to get all this damage onto tower now. And all of this is being led not because of Kog'Maw and Kench versus Caitlyn Braum, but simply because the enemy mid laner and jungler have the cheat towards bottom side. This is the whole of Invictus Gaming, that team effort, giving their power to JackeyLove, which is exactly what we wanted to see them do. If JackeyLove's going to be your star, you're going to change your style around him, that's how you do it. And to me, at the very least, it feels like a lot of that almost directly translated from TheShy in the top lane down to JackeyLove, whereas in the past, it's kind of been the other way around. Like, TheShy has benefited a lot when he's on those carries, but the fact that he played that situation so well, he was kind of goading Pepper, and he was just like, oh, maybe I will step forward, maybe you can gank me. And then the last minute when Pepper finally commits to the recall, interrupts that time. He probably spent a good 45 seconds to a minute in top lane. Yeah, but now Pepper has reset himself onto the map. You can see that he's committed fully towards the bottom side and is writing everything back to how it should be. Caitlyn and Braum are again pushing forward, but it's under the safety net that Pepper has created for them. But hold on. Shockwave in the mid lanes, chasing down Bing. Clockwork Windup's going to be a bunch of damage flashes forward. Right up down, but a slam dunk comes in from Ning. That's going to be the kill. Here comes Fiora though, and Sejuani's on the bottom side. Jarvan is in trouble. Oh yeah, he is in a lot of trouble. Please do give this one over. There we go. Gimgoon picks up the kill, walks to mid. 2 kills now in the pocket. Whoa, good Gimgoon flashing forwards. We'll get 2 of these. Procs will follow after. Double kill coming in for Gimgoon. Rookie just stepping too far forwards. And it's done in a very different way. It wasn't attention from Pepper given to the top side. Pepper had to return to the bottom side of the map, but Gimgoon unlocks himself. He says, I don't need no strong, independent jungler to help me. I can do this my own on Fiora. Roams down into mid lane and makes the play happen. That's put him so far ahead in the top lane now from the neutralization that TheShy had put down onto him in the top lane, is able to just push him back, push him under tower. In fact, he's got 2 kills, and he's been running Kleptomancy through the laning phase. It's going to be a pretty big Fiora. And he has a massive completed item. We take another look at that. Bing
really, he's just playing to his control wards, but obviously he was unsafe. Ning was underneath. He's able to flash, find the Cataclysm, but great response. Again, where Gimgoon and Sejuani are on the map, they run up. Ning has no idea that Sejuani is there because of all of the vision that was placed earlier, and the best part is that Gimgoon picked up both the kills. As a rookie, there's no reason. He sees the W go down. He knows that he doesn't have the slow as well as any sort of other damage, has the ultimate available, finds the procs, dives no problem.
Yeah. Instantaneous reactions as well from Gimgoon, and he's picked up the Ravenous Hydra now in the top lane.
Yeah, and that's the key thing, because it means that Cho'Gath no longer has the push advantage onto Fiora, and this 1-4 composition is about to spiral wildly out of control as Caitlyn, Braum, they're super happy, Fiora is super happy, and Pepper just needs to, again, create these safety nets, keep laying down vision, farming his own jungle, and then Taliyah can just respond with her wall to whatever side of the map they need him to.
FPX looking to make another play into the bot side now. This has been spotted out by Ning, and a control ward there. Will flang and drag over the wall towards this tower. JackeyLove will take a bit of damage as he teleports back into lane there. LPX planting that trap down.
Does have his Rage Blade, which means it is a really nice time for IG to fight as long as it's on even footing, because he will do more damage once his stacks stack up versus Caitlyn at this point in the game.
And FPX constantly looking to try and push this one forward. They're not just sitting on the laurels. They are continuing to try and find these opportunities for them to get more advantages.
They do need to break it a bit quicker now. What Shy's doing right now is, since he's stacked up on armor, has his Ninja Tabi, his Bramble Vest, as well as the workings of Frozen Heart, he's just trying to hold the creep wave and then deny Gimgoon from shoving past him and taking the tower. It's, you know, how Shin used to play a lot of those matchups against the Bruisers. So it's stalling out Fiora's power spike long enough, as well as slowing down FPX snowballing this game by taking early structures. So good on the Shy right now to give IG a little bit more breathing room.
How do FPX now open that up then? Can they just move Pepper into the top lane and try and brute force the tower?
They need to brute force anywhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be the top lane, but it needs to be with Pepper and possibly both Bing, because right now Ning and Rookie are doing such a good job moving together that I don't think you can just throw Sejuani or Taliyah at one lane. Like, one without the other won't be effective, because I suspect that Invictus Gaming will read it and have two people there.
It seems like they have the possibility to do so, since Bing did draft the Taliyah here.
See, but this is actually a big misplay. Ning and Rookie are on blue buff. Everyone has blue buff timers. This is one of the oldest tricks in League of Legends. Sejuani should have made a play happen bottom, knowing that Ning and Rookie would be on the top side of the map. So that was your opportunity where you had a numbers advantage to try to break that bottom tower, which is incredibly low, which is the crux of your composition, because you need to get that Caitlyn moving around, that they completely missed for 5 minutes.
Hasn't been explosive, but Bing actually finding it hard to pull back into the mid lane because he will be tagged there by the shockwave. Looks for the flick. Not going to quite land, but Ning was looking for another slam dunk.
Yeah, bad plays and bad decision-making from Bing is costing FPX really big here. They need to start getting this rolling because it's a Kog'Maw composition. They will just get outscaled by Invictus Gaming, and they're not moving around their pieces correctly. And now with LWX chunked out, Rookie having control and forcing Bing out, Rookie and Ning just need to walk down, and they'll brute force, or at least even just cheat, and they'll brute force this tower down.
Yeah, this is definitely becoming pretty problematic. Here comes the teleport as well, looking to make a play. FPX trying to defend right here, but Ning wants this to happen. LWX was actually low coming in. Ultimate comes down, Cataclysm for the kill. I'll go with the Orianna, and now everybody from FPX being routed. Gimgoon, however, right behind. This is a little bit of an awkward situation. JackeyLove does have the stopwatch. He's rejoined the rest of his team, and now Gimgoon pushing in, buys a bit of time with a riposte, but the Shy's gonna nom him down, pick up the kill. 2 kills over to Invictus Gaming.
And that's as simple as it is. Now they're gonna walk up as a 5-man unit, take the tower, reset, and Invictus Gaming are now looking at the gold lead that FPX should have had.
Well, Invictus Gaming have definitely pulled ahead now, picking up that tower, multiple kills, everybody going back to base. We can take a look at that one more time as the teleport comes in from LWX, but he wasn't even full health.
And it's also a great cleanse by Rookie right there. 1 man on the Sejuani ultimate. Rookie immediately cleanse it and then just uses his ability to zone. Great use of the stopwatch. Gimgoon trying to do what he can with a deep teleport. I kind of wish that Invictus Gaming, I wish that Invictus Gaming would have taken down that tower, especially while they were trading tower aggro with stopwatches and things like that. But it went down in the end, so even though a little bit messy for my taste, job got done.
Yeah, I was very much scared when Gimgoon came in from behind. I actually didn't know who I was more scared for, whether it was going to be the carries on IG or Gimgoon, the fact that he was coming in from behind as a squishy Fiora who went for Ravenous Hydra first. But yeah, it seems like they were slightly disconnected in that play, FPX.
Oh yeah, and the moral of the story is it wasn't just disconnect on that play, it's been kind of disconnect on the windows about when they want to make the plays. Again, they had opportunity when Rookie was on blue buff.
Gimgoon going for the 1 versus 2 because he knows Bing is coming, flank drag over the wall, but he has zoned him away.
I cannot believe Gimgoon just got to force 2 flashes during that, but Invictus Gaming are still the ones that are picking up this global gold and continuing to snowball themselves farther and farther. It's now looking at 2K in their advantage, and again, they will outscale.
Gimgoon moving to the top lane now and trying to block this 2 versus 2 assault, but actually this is fantastic for Baolan. He's completely stopped Fiora from coming up. In fact, Gimgoon's taking red buff, so...
The thing is even if Fiora comes up there's nothing they can do to chase down the Kog'Maw, because even if Baolan's not zoning them, he's just going to gobble them up and ult him away.
FPX are trying to make a replay on the bottom side though by taking the Mountain Dragon. And Bing has also come up to try and stem the bleeding here by removing that minion wave. But now mid is somewhat exposed, though everybody has moved from the top side by Invictus Gaming. Seems like Rookie's trying to also support Ning.
Yeah, FPX are just trying to shift all over the map and match the tempo that Invictus Gaming are driving. They get to pick any objective that they want, and FPX are just missing their windows and playing very reactionary and behind Invictus Gaming, and can't play behind this composition. So what they need to do right now is actually probably isolate Gimgoon a little bit, get him in a good 1v1 matchup. Gimgoon is confident enough to make plays.
Ooh, that was a big shockwave coming out from Rookie, and now the capitalization as well from Ning. He now needs to back away. Baolan with a good save there. JackeyLove instant cleanse out of that ultimate. The Herald now kind of on FPX's side, but they want more from this one because Gimgoon's chasing out JackeyLove, and what a wall as well from Bing will seal the fate of Jackie.
What a disaster from Invictus Gaming. Like, TheShy didn't have teleport, he was bottom, there was no reason to try to force that without your Cho'Gath. You're also taking a monster objective and he has Feast, and we're still hanging around.
They're still
this.
contesting for us, you're absolutely right. Rookie is trying to step forward and maybe steal this one away. Will be smited down by Pepper, and here comes the engage once again. In comes Ning, slams down onto Bing, he gets that 1 kill. They now trading in the pit with LWX, but he's got this shotgun Caitlyn, who's able to take down the Jarvan.
He's got
Man,
nothing.
actually caught out in the 90 caliber net, so overall it will be a 2 for 3, but it looked like the Herald went down to FPX.
They're trying to find Chris right now.
Unfortunately, he has to walk towards the enemy side of the map, so Baolan will chase him down, and this will be another kill over to IG.
Give it to Rookie, give that 4-1-5 Orianna. There they go.
There it is. FPX. So a good re-engage by Invictus Gaming, but dicey for a second.
Yeah, I'm going to say still a bad play from both teams. Good on FPX for recognizing that Invictus Gaming could not make that play because TheShy, we're going to see the replay as TheShy shows up. So IG, they look pretty good. You're like, FPX, why are you in this position? The Caitlyn doesn't have her core itemization. She's not really going to do as much damage, especially now she has to hit the tanky members and Cho'Gath and Tahm Kench. And so IG will clean up the back end of the fight, most of the gold going on Rookie. But to start that, Cho wasn't in the position. IG thought it was a good time to fight, and they were immediately punished for it.
You know, it seems like LWX always finds himself in these positions where he's face-to-face with an enemy Jarvan or a frontliner. Like, he always seems to play AD carry as a frontline.
Well,
He always finds himself there.
his most played champion is Varus, and now he's on Caitlyn. He also has a lot of Tristana games to his name, so he's got a lot of range to deal with as much as he wants to frontline.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that was his fault.
No, but he's always there. Like, at some point, there's got to be a correlation. The fact that LWX always does find himself in those situations.
I'm going to give you a little secret. It might be the fact that his top laner doesn't play any tanks.
Ah, yes, maybe.
And no one
So-
will frontline for him.
So Jarvan just walks past Gimgoon into LWX. That does make sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Moving Gimgoon, in fact, down to the bottom lane here
This
against
is what
TheShy.
I wanted. Okay, before we decided to have some of this circus play over the Rift Herald, I want them to isolate Gimgoon into a side lane and try to pull TheShy away so they can try to find engagements like what they're doing in the mid lane. They want to play the 1-4 and then use these engage tools like the Braum, like the Sejuani, to make picks onto the Kog'Maw. Now, the issue is, of course, they have the Tahm Kench there, but eventually you're going to mess up. Or eventually you'll wait long enough that Fiora will get a massive enough lead where no one will be able to stop her, including the Cho'Gath. So that's what FPX are trying to hope for.
Yeah, they went for the play, didn't work out this time, but they just need to rinse and repeat, hopefully, and try it once again. Especially if Kog'Maw just walks onto a trap, but he's always got Baolan to save him. In the top side, though, Bing getting caught out by Rookie and Ning.
And Bing has been the real thorn for FPX this game. Repeatedly poor pathing in the early game that left his bot lane exposed, losing tempo and control, getting just dominated by Rookie and Ning. And it doesn't seem as clear simply because he's just sitting on 1-3-1, but Bing is never in the right place. And he is constantly made punished for it. And on a champion like Taliyah, who's the primary wave clear at this point of the game, as well as useful for her ultimate to either go towards the Fiora or go towards the Caitlyn, you're losing a lot of your map control of the purpose of your composition.
And that's why I was a little bit surprised when I saw Taliyah picked up by Bing. I was like, okay, maybe we're going to actually see him rotate towards these side lanes, as you said, be that wave clear and then move towards the play. And he has had some good ultimates that have leveraged into kills, into objectives, but there are also those problems getting caught out. And now IG, constant control over the map once again, able to push into this top side. All of the vision is down there, and FPX, while they do have some vision around the Baron, they're never going to be able to step up once again to refresh that vision here.
And the terrifying thing is that because Jarvan got ahead 3-2 and 6, he now gets to build full damage Jarvan, sitting on Warrior Smite as well as the Black Cleaver, which means he's pretty much going to one-shot Taliyah on his own. There's no way they can step into any sort of fog of war, and FPX needs to go into full damage control and start moving around as a 5-man unit simply to clear vision. And that unfortunately takes away a lot from Gimgoon's powers. You can see him bottom, he threw down the Rift Herald. It's not going to mean anything, he can't follow it up on it. Yep.
Definitely unfortunate. TheShy is able to just take this one down as a full minion wave, so that's not even going to touch the tower in the end there. Despite Triforce and Ravenous Hydra being completed by Gimgoon, looks like he's going to rotate towards his mid lane.
He has to be here for his team. They can't hold as the 4-man unit because Bing is so far behind and it impacted the whole of the map.
When the tower goes down, there's no real defense from FPX because they can't right now, and this is just accelerating that gold lead. 4 towers over their opponents, and a 7,000 gold lead for Invictus Gaming, plus control over topside.
I mean, at this point, you're pretty much looking for a miracle. Either the game has to go on so long that Fiora can do whatever she wants into a side lane, which even at this point I'm unsure is a viable win condition, or the miracle CC pop chain happens on Kog'Maw.
I can definitely say it doesn't start with Chris getting caught though, walking into a brush and face checking, which will be another kill over to Invictus here.
And Invictus Gaming are going to play the exact same play over and over again. It's just an air Drake, so it's not super high priority. What they're really looking at is Baron, but that's the only way back in for FPX. So when they do finally commit to the Baron, they need to make sure that Cho'Gath is in position, looking for the feast, that no type of steal will come in. So that's why they're setting up for countless picks over and over.
And Pepper just caught out, trying to clear a ward in this jungle. Will flash, use ultimate, use everything to try and get away. Bing's going to come down as well and try and save him. He will manage to get out, but this is the signal for Baron.
Yeah, and while that's been happening, they're using the tank from TheShy and Baolan, and they've already set up the Baron. So brilliantly executed by Invictus Gaming. That is how you set a clean Baron. Other LPL teams take note, because we've certainly been struggling there. But force the jungler out, already have a sneaky Baron happening, and at this point, it's just the death grip on FPX.
You know, Invictus Gaming have been playing exceptionally well. FPX are going to try and get something on the bottom side and in fact move towards the Dragon here, but Invictus Gaming have been playing exceptionally well in this set so far.
Yeah, outside of that one misstep on the Rift Herald, TheShy being out of position, maybe miscommunication between the team. I don't necessarily want to just blame the player right there. IG have been very flawless in how they're playing their jungle pressure around their lanes. I feel like it really did start for me in the mid lane with Rookie and Ning, and just how they unlocked that Orianna, controlled the creep wave, always got the advantage on Taliyah, and helped their bottom lane survive the Caitlyn Braum push.
Here comes the chase right now onto FPX as they move towards, or away from the Dragon, but it seems like they will be able to successfully get away. Unfortunately, it was just a Cloud Dragon.
But they should have taken that much earlier. FPX are putting themselves in positions where they're getting caught out trying to contest for vision that there's no way that they can ever contest. When the Cloud Dragon hasn't been looked out by Invictus Gaming, so obviously they wanted the Baron. Someone could have taken that for free. You know, Gimgoon had spent plenty of time down there. There was no reason that, yeah, they finally got it, but it took so long to get.
Yeah, definitely with Ravenous Hydra, you can easily solo that one out, especially when he was being pushed back when he placed the Herald down. But either way, looking to make a play here with Baolan. He's going to turn into the bottom lane and actually start pushing with this whole Baroned up minion wave. Gimgoon's in the top side with teleport, but Invictus Gaming making this push onto the last remaining inner turret. Not entirely sure if FPX wanted to even try and defend here, especially as Pepper just loses all of his HP to JackeyLove, who is diving the tower right now. Flag, drag, Pepper, he's already down. JackeyLove is able to push forward. Ning's going to be saved up by Baolan as well. TheShy is pushing in, down onto Bing, gets the knockup, in comes the team. He flashes over the wall. Redemption comes down to save all this, and TheShy flashes over the wall to get the feast off.
Reset of tower aggro right there for JackeyLove, and just a constellation prize for Gimgoon in top lane.
Constellation. Yeah, he's looking at the stars right now. He's definitely not looking at his team Frost. Not what he wants to be looking at whatsoever. Just he's got the elevator music going on right now because the team's just pushing into the base. Like, it's fine, I'll just push top lane.
Let's be honest, if we're in team comms right now, if this happened in a scrim, 10 minutes ago you're like, next.
Yeah. That feels real bad. Invictus Gaming taking two inhibitor turrets and 2 inhibitors at 27 minutes here. Gimgoon might pick an inner tower, but that's really just a drop in the ocean for FPX.
It's really the only viable win condition they have at this point. But like you said, it's simply because Invictus Gaming were ravaging their base right there. 2 inhibitors down. Now all they need to do is 5-man stack on the top side because the super creeps will do enough damage in the bottom and mid lanes. And IG still have plenty of time to work on this Baron. They should at least be able to get it all the way back up, or at least neutralize lane.
It does seem almost impossible for Invictus Gaming to lose this game from here, and as we keep saying, we're looking at Gimgoon, we're looking at this Fiora as the one win condition, but Invictus Gaming could probably just run it down mid at this point. They're pretty close to that situation where you can just run at FPX and just win a fight and win the game.
Here comes the pick.
It might actually just be over red buff as well, that will finally be picked up by LWX.
Fortunately for FPX, because IG didn't have deep enough vision, Ning didn't know to go over the wall with the flag and drag there. Again, Jarvan is big enough with these damage items as well as the GA that he'd feel confident enough just going in 1v3.
Well, this feels pretty bad that the defensive line not going to be enough because TheShy is tanking all of the damage. Big shockwave coming in from Rocky, and Pepper just disappears. Bing was looking for the flank, but he's not even relevant in this fight. Huge damage coming on to FPX, and it looks like Invictus Gaming just going to run it down mid and look for the game.
There's only LWX left for the lane clear. There's no way he can step forward. In fact, JackeyLove's just going to kill him right now.
He's going to step up to the spawn pad and see how much damage he can deal. The rest of the team is just kind of toying with the food right now as they look towards these last remaining towers. Gimgoon's going to try and make it out of the base. He's looking for the touchdown right now, but the rest of the team from Invictus Gaming will close in around the Nexus and take this one down. Well, JackeyLove definitely wants that kill, and down goes the Nexus, and Invictus Gaming will take game 1 against FPX.
Padding KDAs there. Unfortunately for FPX, they had a very clear game plan, but I feel like they missed their big window to operate on it. I have to go back to the fact that Rookie and Ning were topside taking a blue buff. They had the timer, they knew it was going to happen. Sejuani was even bottom around the area, and they chose not to go down bottom and unlock that Caitlyn sooner. She wasn't unlocked until 5 minutes later, and at that point, Invictus Gaming had already taken bot, Herald, as well as top tower.
I will say that FPX had the right idea, but too late, right? Like, they did look to try and force that fight mid lane, move Gimgoon down into the bottom lane and try and find a pick onto JackeyLove, but it was at that point that Tahm Kench also existed, so it found it very difficult to try and make that play. And as you said, Invictus Gaming on the opposite side, playing a very clean game. It was close to flaws coming out from them, apart from the Herald play that happened, but eventually they still managed to win that one through the way that they re-engaged. So yes, it was a mistake, but they managed to catch up after that.
But I do love the fact that they gave responsibility back to Rookie. He went on one of his signature picks like the Orianna, and they then just gave that power into JackeyLove's hands. You know, Kog'Maw, he's under pressure bottom. Rookie, Ning, they're coming to the safety. They help unlock him. The fact that their bottom tower falls first was a big boom for them.
But this was also them like definitely trying to move it onto JackeyLove, right? Because this is the first time we've actually seen TheShy pick anything that isn't a carry in the top lane as he faces down Gimgoon. And it's almost like, I can challenge you to a 1v1 duel because both top laners are exceptionally good in their roles, specifically in terms of mechanics. Or I could go Cho'Gath, I could pick a tank right here and allow the bottom side of my map to carry because I have another winning point on the map.
Yeah, and I think that means that they need to go back to the drawing board for FPX, and instead of identifying, you know, giving that power to Gimgoon or giving that power, like, theoretically they had winning lanes and kind of both sides of their map or power points that they could play around, give it back to Pepper in the jungle. They took away Sejuani. It's Ning's #1 played champion. Yes, it was a priority pick on the Jarvan anyway, but just give Pepper the actual aggressive matchup that he wants. Allow him to contest for Ning, and don't allow a Rookie to freely rotate because his jungler has paved the path for him.
Yeah, and actually give it a shot because we actually saw him path towards top 2 bottom in that one. It didn't even like he pathed towards the top side. We'll see if they try and make that adaptation heading into game 2 because we are going to send it over to our analyst to take a look at that game 1.
Thank you so much. And Raz, welcome back. We're here, and let's start to break down this game. All right, Invictus Gaming, FPX. The thing that we want to talk about, we were talking about it a little bit during the game, windows of opportunity. Chances to make plays happen and chances to not let the enemy team make plays on your behalf, I suppose I should say. IG, they were quite successful at finding their own windows of opportunity and then capitalizing on them.
Yeah, because immediately just looking at the early points of the game, it was a really slow start because Invictus Gaming as a team trying to scale up for themselves. Orianna, Kog'Maw, Cho'Gath, not a lot of action. You can try and go for that part. But one ward that I really loved coming in from the top side of the map, because TheShy always seems to be kind of like stealing the spotlight. This time around, nothing happens. That's the best thing about it. Places a ward. Gimgoon, funny enough, uses his trinket to see if it's on the third ward, if there's a ward on what he's sitting on. No, it catches out Sejuani for such a long time too. And what that grants, that small window of opportunity, ends up being bottom side pressure completely. Because Sejuani's on the top side of the map, then suddenly Ning helps out the Orianna, they move bottom side, and you have the bottom side of the map, LWX and Crisp, getting pushed out of the experience for so damn long.
And again, to clarify, this is Pepper attempting to gank TheShy top, sitting on top of a ward for, I think Pulse said, maybe 45 to 60 seconds, just wasting time.
Yeah, for quite a long time. And then you had those same opportunities kind of gifted to FPX as well. FLICKR actually mentioned the fact that a lot of the times, if the enemy team is gifting blue, you get the opportunity, you have that vision. What do you do with that? A lot of teams have the availability to press wards down, to kind of allow for the next play to be available to you. But Sejuani, like the enemy, like Pepper was on the bottom side of the map, and you have a Taliyah in the mid lane who has the ability to use Weaver's Wall on the bottom side of the map. It didn't happen, so that was an opportunity that was wasted for FPX. So you have Invictus Gaming constantly finding those windows to kind of look towards a bottom lane dive. We saw the first time around when, of course, top lane, we saw Gimgoon got ahead. Trace that towards the bottom lane dive. That wasn't the only one. The first one, of course, Nessa kill, double kill, Ning gets that. We go into the replay, of course, of essentially the second dive that comes through.
Yeah.
It was a proper setup dive from Invictus Gaming, and it works well simply because they started off first. And honestly, LWX didn't have much of a chance to exist here.
Yeah, they just bring the whole family down to the bottom lane, and though things look a little bit risky for JackeyLove, somehow he evades the Fiora and the follow-up from FPX.
Stopwatch, my friends, and Cho'Gath tanking tower for an eternity.
Yeah.
So that's what happens when you have proper setup, because it doesn't matter how fed the Fiora is, getting like 3 kills. Of course, the first kill was gifted to the enemy, to the Sejuani. She gets the first kill, but she's incredibly fed at this point. Finally finds her way in the bottom side of the map, but LWX is already dead in that scenario. So IG, because of how well they were playing the map to begin with, they get themselves a dive, and they get themselves a massive lead.
And of course, this is the mechanical confidence that we expect from the players of Invictus Gaming, the idea that they know that they're good and they're capable of making these plays. And once they're able to get the advantage, that gank bottom turning into those kills, sorry, the dive bottom turning into those kills, they get to dictate the tempo. Bing hardly had a chance to interact with those remainder of the team fights.
Yes.
He was split pushing and still getting dived.
Yeah, honestly, what I love about the composition from FPX was it kind of went towards what we expected them stylistically. Give Bing Taliyah so he can roam outside and have early impact. We didn't get that. So going into game 2, you have to find yourself that opportunity to free mid lane and hopefully not spend as much time in the top side of the map.
Yeah, hashtag free Bing from the mid lane to see if he can succeed. We're going to go and take a quick break while we get ready for game 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.